Welcome to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast, the show that offers you tips and strategies to help speakers build the business of their dreams. Now here's your host, 30-year industry veteran and business coach, Jane Atkinson.
Well, welcome everyone to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast. I'm back today with one of my favorite all-time guests, author of Ridiculously Easy to Do Business with, David Avrin. Welcome back to the show, David.
Hey, friend. It's great to see you. Well, you're one of my favorite people to be on a podcast and to be at a conference with and having lunch with and all the above. We've been colleagues for a lot of years. It's always nice to have a good conversation. Yeah.
Really is. Now, for the listeners first of all, you just said to me before we started recording that the previous podcast we did together was one that you still get comments on today. And I do want to encourage people to go back to the podcast that we did before. So just go out to speakerlauncher.com, click on podcasts, and just put David in the search bar, and you will find our previous podcast, which was so good. Tell everybody, if they don't know of you yet, what your current business model is. What are the types of clients you work with, and what are you primarily doing for them?
Sure. I'm primarily a keynoter, but I have a pretty robust consulting back end. I have books, as a matter of fact. At the day that we're recording this is the day that I'm announcing my new book. By the time this airs, it'll be out as well. So, certainly some revenue, but as you and I both know, books for speakers by and large is a $25 business card, or was that $77 Canadian, or whatever the translation is. But I'm primarily a keynote speaker. And then for those who want to do a deeper dive, we offer full day, half day strategic consulting. We're actually rolling out quite a bit new with the new book, Ridiculously Easy to Do Business with, some consulting, some longer term strategy, as well as a certification program. So we've learned, as you and I both, we've watched this industry grow up, change, modify from time to time. And that I think keynoting as a predictable, long-term revenue generator, I think it's a really broken model. I mean, I think you have to have alternate sources of income, alternate sources of content delivery. We've been saying for a very long time, we're not selling speeches, we're selling wisdom, right? And that wisdom can be delivered across a variety of platforms. Outcomes, absolutely. Yes. But unless you're a celebrity on Shark Tank or something else, just keynoting is difficult. I mean, difficult in terms of long-term, predictable. So we have a whole business model around it, and happy to talk more about what that is.
I like that. And I like that you have you can charge the much bigger price tags for the big results, outcomes that come when you do the consulting work, or when the keynote is the beginning of your work together with a client. Right. And you do more things.
Well, and it can very much be the kickoff, but it doesn't have to be. Selling somebody for the first time on a comprehensive program is very, very difficult. They want to try it before they buy it. They want to taste it before they commit to the 40-pound bag of tater tots at Costco. It's easier to take a small sample first, but I think it's really smart. And it's one of the things I wish I had been better at 25 years ago, is to recognize when somebody comes up and they have that wonderful enthusiasm that feeds our ego, and they come up and they go, how do we work together? And for too many years, I was like, well, you can buy my book, and that was about all I had. And so it's the broader message, and it's the one that I'm excited to deliver on the main stage at NSA this summer, is the fact that speaking is not a business. Getting the gig is the business, right? We talked about that last time. All the other things that you can sell them and deliver value and content is the business. The speaking, we love that. That's the performance. That's the ego boost. That's the laughter and the applause and everything else. The hard work, and very much of what you teach as well, is what are we doing between gigs to raise our profile, to demonstrate our value, and to beat other colleagues, great friends and colleagues, to get that paid gig.
Beautiful. Now, first of all, congratulations. This is your 7th book. Please tell me the ridiculous,
Yes.
easy to do business with. Tell us the subtitle.
The subtitle of that book is A Practical Guide to Giving Customers What They Want, When and How They Want It.
I love it.
So we're very clear in business of what we want to deliver, but there's a growing disconnect with how others are wanting to receive it or how they want to engage with us or buy from us or pay. I'm still stunned, Jane, at the amount of speakers that don't have a phone number on their website and they have a contact form. Oh, it just kills me. I'm just like, thank you for putting my kids through college because I just got your gigs because you took a day and a half to get back to them. And I already have a contract going over. So part of that is just the recognition. How do people want to do business with us?
Yes.
How seamless, how accommodating are we?
So that's little golden nugget number 1 is put your email and your phone number in a very easy to find place on every page. And if you are going to do a contact form, put it above it so that I don't have to, but especially if I'm a speakers bureau, I don't want to be looking around for it. I'm in a hurry and I need to get that done quickly. Okay. So I want to circle back to for the past 8 years, you have picked a lane. You shifted your lane.
I did shift my lane.
Talk about the results of becoming a customer experience guru, expert, whatever you want to call yourself. How has that changed your focus?
Sure. Well, it's changed in a couple of ways. Number one is I spent first 15 years of my career so doing marketing and branding, helping companies to craft the words they use to describe what they do. That was my background. I had a marketing firm. I had worked with some of the bigger clients and others as well. But to answer your question, the shift did 2 things for me. Number one is it energized me. I was, very much, I was working quite a bit, but it was sort of the same thing, but the world was changing. So I was excited because I had new content. I wasn't chasing the next shiny object. What I found was that my market was changing and the reasons why people chose customers and clients was changing. It used to be who was the most persuasive, who had the better jingle, who had the brighter packaging. And today, and what I saw that shift happening, it became far less important what we said about ourselves, our marketing, not unimportant, but less important than what other people were saying about us. And that was the rise of social media and social proof and Yelp and TripAdvisor and Rotten Tomatoes and all that as well. So the 2 things it did for me, number one is it re-energized me in a nice way. Yes. And 2 is it kept me relevant. In terms of messages for speakers, this is huge. Joe Calloway's talked about this forever as well. The biggest challenge and the biggest fear in this business is irrelevance. Mark Sanborn had a great line. He says, speakers don't retire. The phone just stops ringing, right? And it stops ringing because we're no longer a subject that they're interested in hiring. So I think it's absolutely crucial. And even within that realm of customer experience, which I've been talking about for about 8 years, my message has evolved and changed with changing markets. There's a lot of people who are saying now you got to be talking about AI. Well, it's a component of what I do. I'm not going all in on AI because 2 years from now, nobody's going to be talking about AI because nobody's going to wonder what it means. Well, it's just going to be integrated into our lives. And I don't want to be chasing those shiny things. So we always pick the broad subject. You go to any speakers bureau, look at the list. You better be in one of those items of sales or culture or equity and inclusion or whatever that is.
Right.
But within that, it's finding that niche. And that's what I'm doing with Ridiculously Easy to Do Business with.
And I love that it's so clear to me what you can help me with. Talk about, okay, so let's speak directly to your speaking business.
Sure.
You used the word friction before we started, and I love talk about how you might make doing business with you have less friction for a client hiring a speaker.
Yeah, I mean, here's a big oversimplification. The answer is yes. What's the question? right? I mean, unless the question is, will you do it for $1,000? No, unless it's a legitimate charity in my backyard. But
Yes.
the other things that they ask for, I mean, the answer is just yes. And yeah, some things are becoming a little more frustrating. Yeah, sometimes they'll go months in advance and they want your slides, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to be ridiculously accommodating because we're all adverse to anything that causes us frustration or friction or delay, right? The other part is you don't want a reputation in this industry of being difficult to work with.
Right.
And fortunately, most don't. I mean, most of our colleagues are really good at this and really good people and really responsible. There's always a few that will sort of give the industry a bad name. I don't think it happens very often, but meeting planners don't want to work on your schedule. They don't want to wait for a return. I mean, our response time is ridiculously fast for one specific reason, because my competitors, my colleagues are great. And I don't want them to talk to them before they talk to me. I want to anything we like I'll be clear. We talked before about the contact form. If you go to my website, there's a contact form. And there's also cell phone numbers of everybody on my team. There's email addresses of everyone on my team. And people will ask the question, will say, well, don't you have life balance? Yeah, I have a life balance. I'm not doing calls every day at 2:00 in the morning, but Jane, sometimes I do. And I've got clients because I've spoken in 26 countries around the world. When my clients overseas want to have a conversation, I am the one doing it in the middle of the night. It's never them, even if they insist, because I want to be ridiculously accommodating. I want them to think this guy is so great. He's so great to work with. It's I don't know that there's many people that will charge to come in a day early or to go to the cocktail party the night. I mean, the answer is yes to everything. We always do analysis of where our opportunities come from. And of course, a good number of them come from somebody who saw me present and they were in an audience. They want to know. Well, realizing that probably 50% of our business is coming from someone who saw me speak. And I speak at, say, 10:00 in the morning and I'm done at 11. I'm not on a flight at 1.
Okay.
I try and see if I can go to their conference dinner, because there's that many more opportunities for somebody to come find me and say, hey, that was great. I've got an event coming up in September. What are you doing second week? Yeah. Just that little extra time. Now, the fact that we're new empty nesters gives me a little more freedom to stay. Right. But it was so eye-opening when we realized, though, I want to be present. I want to be responsive. I want to, I want to be really easy to reach. And unless I'm on an airplane or I'm on stage, I am available 24/7.
Okay. All right. Well, that really makes it clear for people on what that means to you to be being.
Well, and they can draw their boundaries wherever they want. Just know that somebody else will get the gig who might respond faster. And that's okay.
Okay. So an email comes into your office.
Sure.
Saying we're interested in such and such a date. What happens next? What's the timeline and what happens next?
Sure. We're always trying to respond within the hour. Because anything that goes within the hour. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Most of the time it's within 15 minutes, but everything that comes in will go to info@davidavrin.com. Okay. And so if it goes in, it goes to 3 of us. It goes to me, it goes to Tiffany, who's been with me for 12 years, and goes to Hannah, who's been with me for 6. And then we'll do a quick communication of who's going to respond, or we have some criteria internally in terms of how we do that. Sure. But we love it when prospects say, wow, that was a really fast response. I really appreciate it. So we try and respond very, very, very quickly. We're all getting it, so somebody's going to see it, and then we just have some internal communication. Because what we get paid for what we do is really healthy, and that one little missed opportunity. So you asked the process. So we'll respond very quickly. If it is a bureau, I will respond by phone. Very, very quickly. It happened this morning. Yep. Right. Just pick up the phone. We'll respond. If I don't get somebody, I'll respond by email right away. But I want to be able to have that conversation before a competitor does. And we do a lot of outbound marketing. If somebody responds and says, I just saw David's preview video, it's really impressive. I would love to talk about our event coming up in Las Vegas in January. Yep. Not only will we respond very, very quickly via email, generally, however they reach out, we will respond the same way, but then it sets in motion a whole bunch of things. So one of the things that we do, if we know we've had a conversation, once that first conversation happens, I do a bomb, and some people know bomb is a video email. And
Yes.
so I will, Tiffany in my office, once she has the first conversation, maybe it's by email or whatever about an event, and we know that they're interested, she'll send me a very quick one-page dossier. Now, those listening or watching this, you don't need an assistant to do this. You can do this yourself. And
Yes.
so I'll just look at all the details of the event, and I'll go to Bomb. I'll go 3, 2, 1. Hey, Jim, it's David Avrin, customer experience keynote speaker and author of all of these books by my head. I understand you've been in contact with Tiffany in my office about your event for the swimming pool industry coming up in Las Vegas in January. I just want to reach out and just introduce myself. Here's what I know about your industry. Here's what I've done before. Here's my approach. I promise I will make you a hero for bringing me in. Keep working with Tiffany. She's a dream. I'm generally on airplanes, but I'm happy to set up a call, and I hope we have a chance to work together. Have a great day. And I click done, and I send it off. And so now, not only have we had a quick exchange, now they've heard from me. I've been able to clarify my content as it pertains to their industry in a 90-second, a video recording. We will generally, if we know that there's a genuine interest, I will quickly sign a book, and we will get that in the mail to them as well.
Will you mail it or overnight it?
We generally, God, I wish I knew the answer to that question because I'm not the one who does it, but I do sign it.
What do we do?
Yeah. Tiffany, what do we do? I think she does normal. She doesn't do media mail.
I'm thinking express post or something like
Yes.
that. But anyway,
we send it, but we try and get it out same day.
Yeah.
So we send just a copy of the book or whatever else, because here's what we know. And Jane, you and I both know this, is once they've reached out, they're likely, first of all, they're in decision-making mode, right? They're open to it. Otherwise, they would have said, yeah, we got a conference coming up in 2 months. We'll keep them on file, which means we won't keep them on file. But if they're talking to me, now they're in decision mode. So they're likely talking to multiple people.
Yes.
We never badmouth our competitors, but the way we compete is that we are faster in our response. We're more specific in terms of, because they'll watch the preview video and they'll see broad content, right? Because we have to reach real estate and retail and restaurant and whatever else, right?
Brings it in. Bomb brings it in.
Bomb brings it in. So we're able to, and it could do that. You could do that by email as well, but talk specifically about their industry. Absolutely mention what you've done before so they understand, wow, he really knows our industry, he or she. And then everything is about trying to get them to do one thing. Get on a Zoom call with me, because I will close this, because I know I'm good at what I do. A lot of people are good at what they do, but if I have that conversation, I can say, no, but here's what I understand about this. I'd love to play this part. Or maybe they're talking about saying, yeah, we're trying to figure this out because we've got 3 days. Then you can collaborate. Well, listen, I can do that. And then I can do a deeper dive in the afternoon. Well, how much more is that? That's nothing. I listened to my assistant when she was talking to somebody and they were saying, how much more for a breakout, like on the same day? And she goes, nothing. She goes, you don't understand. He loves this. You're just paying him to leave his wife and kids. And I said, do you say that? She says, I say it all the time. I said, well, it's actually kind of true.
So let me, everybody, like kind of an insider idea here. It's not that you're doing something for free. You're actually charging your full day rate, right? From
100%. 100%.
Let's get a mind. Let's build a mindset piece into that. There was a time 10 years ago where you could break those things. And there's a couple of people, if you're a celebrity, you can say, here's how much to do the afternoon. I think it's table stakes today. I think everybody's offering whatever for the day. And so if there's an extra session, then we offer it all up together. I like it because it's right in line with your yes idea.
Absolutely.
Another session? Yes, I can. How much is that extra? Nothing. What? Now you've impressed them. Now you've made it insanely easy to do business with you. So
here's what else you've done is potentially, if they've got budget constraints, and oftentimes they do, now they think, well, let's see, if we paid him, it's probably more than we wanted to pay, but now we don't have to pay somebody for the other one. Could I also say, I can be your opening keynote speaker, and I can also facilitate your lunchtime panel discussion. Now, of course, if it goes into a second day, that's a broader conversation about what that costs. Right. Good. But Even to the point of because I love this is, I'll MC your award ceremony, those kinds of things. Well, sometimes they take you up on it.
I'll stay and juggle. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But what I don't do, I love that you brought that up, because what I don't do is I don't expand beyond my area of expertise.
Okay.
And they'll say, well, do you do leadership? I don't. I talk to leaders, but I talk to them about how to, provide that friction-free experience and be ridiculously easy to do business with. But
Yes.
I'm not so eager for business that I misrepresent myself. This is what I do. This is all I do. I do it very well, and I'll make you a hero for bringing me in.
So the opening keynote is ridiculously easy. And then you could go deep on friction points or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And they call it different things, right? Some of them will call it a master class or a breakout session or a deeper dive. More and more, we're calling it a deeper dive.
I like deep dives.
But now they're looking at multiple people. Well, he's also going to do this. Oh, wow, we can check that box, right?
Yes.
And so we're very forthcoming with options and scenarios.
Yeah, I like that. So the goal, all roads lead to getting you booked on a call as quickly as possible, I'm thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's two things. The first goal is to get them to watch my preview video. I actually just launched a new one. It's right on my website at davidavrin.com.
Okay.
So we can get them to the website and to watch the preview video. I got a good shot of getting the gig. If they don't watch it, I don't have any shot unless they've already seen me speak. So that's the first goal. Everything we do is to get them to go to the website and click and watch that video.
Yep.
From then, the next goal is to get them on a Zoom call with me. Look at what you and I are doing right now. For our parents' generation, this is magic.
Yes.
This is freaking magic, right? For you and I, it's Monday.
Yes.
Right. And so prior to COVID, I did 1 out of every 10 calls over Zoom. Today, it's 19 out of 20.
Yeah. You're looking them in the eye.
Yeah.
You're seeing them in their environment. They're maybe seeing you in your environment, or maybe at an airport. Who knows? Doesn't matter. But they're being able to talk to you and see your face. And I think it's the eye to eye, eyeball to eyeball.
And it's the authenticity. And it's not a scripted anything. It's like you and I are talking right now. It's being real. But you'll also notice that for those who are watching the video version, I've got a very well cultivated or curated background. I have all my books right by my head, very strategically as well. A few things for interest. But we are years past the pandemic now, and I'm still on calls with people who have palm trees behind them. And I'm like, really? It's like, oh, look how funny it is that Jim has palm trees like he's on a desert. It's so funny, Jim. It's not funny, Jim. It's not funny anymore.
Yeah.
If I see another Golden Gate Bridge or palm tree, I'm going to slash my wrists.
So the advice is
be professional
and have a curated background. I say this as I look behind me. For those of you watching on YouTube, there's a dog, and all you can see is his body. You can't see his head.
It's not unprofessional. It's unprofessional.
But, this is how I roll. And then the dog may.
I think it looks great. But
but it is curated. I will say that
100%. And it's real. He just moved his leg back there. But here's the thing: is this is your opportunity. You have no idea what I'm wearing from the waist down. I'm not going to tell you. But it's your opportunity to make that impression. Like, is this the person that we would want to put in front of our audience? Yes. Right? Because meeting planners are very risk averse. They may be doing one event a year, and you cannot suck. And so this is your first chance to say, you want them to get off the call and go, okay, that was great. This person would be a super fit. So I try to do as many calls as I can right here where I've got everything looking nice, make sure I put on a good jacket, and then I'm just me. And the more I can give them, because sometimes we know that they're selling to somebody else or they have to go to a committee. I always encourage, I would love to get on the call, like your next committee meeting, give me 5 minutes, let me talk to them. And it always turns into 30 because they're asking questions.
Yes.
But it's my chance to tailor this. Here's what I know about healthcare audiences or manufacturing or sales seminars. Everybody else, they're just looking at their website and they're looking at their video. I want to drill deep in a conversation about their industry so they can go, wow, like he's a perfect fit.
It's like he's one of us. That's the goal
Like,
at the end of
yeah.
that conversation. It's like he's like, and is there a closing line that you find yourself using? Okay, what are you asking? What's the next
No,
step?
yeah, no, that's a great question. The way I always end the calls is, listen, I look forward to the opportunity. If there's anything that is unclear, if there's any other questions before you make a decision, please reach out.
Yeah.
Give me an opportunity to clarify. Because what we found early on is that we'd have this great conversation, and then it may be weeks before the committee actually meets. And
Yes.
then somebody makes an assumption, well, he's got a lot of experience with hotel and hospitality. It has nothing to do with us. Right. So I always throw in the last one is, listen, when you're making a decision, if there's anything that is unclear, anything you want to know specifically, please reach out. We'd love to do it. Very casual and conversational. And then of
Beautiful.
course we do follow-ups and things like that.
Sure. Are you having clients call your cell and text you?
Oh, we always put that as an option. I mean, we are
Okay.
omni-channel. Whatever they want, the answer is yes.
I've
We have
had
clients that say, do you accept PayPal or Zelle or Square or Venmo? What's my answer, Jane?
yes, yes.
Yes,
I
my
do.
God, they're trying to pay me. Yes.
I do. So I have a client who booked a gig entirely over text, didn't even talk to them on the phone. It was just a text exchange, and then, okay, done deal, contract signed,
Yeah.
boom. So that's really interesting to note.
Well, and
Okay.
here's the other thing is you'll get people who will hear things like that and say, that's the future. No, it's another option. It's not necessary. But we also know speakers say, listen, I've been doing this for 20 years. I've never had a website. Well, good for you, but I don't think I would recommend that to anybody else. Right? There's always outliers, but there's some basic things you need to do. And if you do them well and you do them better than your competitors, you have a leg up.
Okay, so talk us through the contract goes out very quickly, I'm assuming, when you book an engagement.
Once we have an agreement, then
Boom.
yeah,
Done.
same, like not even same day, same hour.
Easy contract.
Super easy. Great
What's
questions. That's all chapter in my new book about
Oh, okay.
ridiculously
I
easy
like
to do a contract. If you have a 5, 6, 7 page contract, you don't need to account for every possibility of what happens if a Zamboni, goes through the auditorium while you're on stage. There's enough case law to write. Your contract should have very clearly, you're going to do this, I'm going to do this, this is what we agree to pay, and this is what happens in case of
somebody can. Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's it. 2 pages.
In your career, I don't know how many years it's been.
24.
Have you ever sued anybody over a contract?
Never, ever, ever, ever. I mean,
24 years.
Never. Nobody's ever. It's all very clear what everybody's supposed to do. During the pandemic, of course, some people. I had one that wanted to cancel. We reached out to everybody else. We just made a deal. We actually changed our force majeure, our act of God clause.
Yes.
And so instead of saying case of act of God, everybody gets their money back, we changed it.
Yeah.
We said in case of act of God or force majeure,
you're going to rebook.
We keep the deposit, you keep the balance, and anytime within 3 years you can rebook.
Yeah.
And I have never had one person who has
had a problem
with that.
That's really good.
I mean, they've already made a decision to hire you. You're just changing when it's going to happen.
How are you making sure that your latest book, gets in the hands of every audience? What's your process for that?
Well, we're knee deep in it right now. I mean, there's traditional book launch procedures. I'm also very cognizant of the fact that I didn't write.
I'm talking about during the gig. You've sold the gig.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah. Tell me.
Lois Kramer has a great line, and I've learned this from her. She says to them, how does she say? She says, do you think it would make sense for all the participants to walk away with the book version? Or how does she say? I even wrote this down. Do you think it would make sense for all the participants to walk away with a copy of the book that reinforces the content? Now, what a great line.
Really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
other times people will say, "What do you want to do about books?" Or "Is it okay if I sell books?" Um, it would
Yeah.
be great. It's always great if you can pre-sell. I never sell from the stage. You always arrange that with them beforehand. I'll let somebody else say, "Dave will be," and afterwards, Dave will be in the lobby signing books if you're interested. And
Yes.
but we always make it clear. I will always allude to the book. I'll always show a picture of the book on the screen as I'm talking about, some certain point or context. That's why I talk about my new book,
Yeah.
Ridiculously Easy to Do Business With, blah, 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 blah. Well, I've just mentioned the book, but there's different ways.
Is that every audience has that book already purchased. It's a part of the deal every single time. That's my goal for you, my friend.
You know what? From your mouth to God's ears, that is a great goal. I need to be better at it.
And another good line, I really like Lois's too, is how long would you like this message to last? Like how long?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
So
great.
if there's something that I want it to last as long as humanly possible.
Chad
Okay.
Hymas has a great line that he upsells his video. He's got a video that goes out to everybody every week.
Yes.
And he says, I think it's important that we don't lose momentum and that we keep the conversation going.
Nice.
And then he goes on. Isn't that brilliant?
Yes, yes, yes. I love that. Okay. So we've gone and played the engagement. We've gotten the contract out insanely fast. Within the hour, they have something in their inbox. If there needs to be a book, we're sending it quickly, so that they are thinking about their budget for books. You go and you play the date.
Yep.
You're probably staying longer than most people. And
If it makes sense to you, betcha.
what's your process after the event takes place? How do you talk
Well,
next
the
steps?
response is a couple of things. Number one is that, and different speakers have different mechanisms to follow up with the audience. Some will put a QR code on the screen. Some will do I can't remember what all the mechanisms for somebody to text a number and then you get the slides. We will do the QR code, or we'll say, listen, if you can't shoot that in time, just throw a business card on the table where I'm signing books in the back. We'll send you all the slides. The cue I use during my presentation is the first time I see somebody raise their arms to take a picture of a slide.
Yeah.
That's my cue. And what I say is, listen, you're welcome to take a picture of any slide you want. I'm happy to send them all to you afterwards. Watch at the very end, there'll be a QR code or just leave me a business card. I will send you all the slides.
Yes.
There's my communication, and I will send them select slides, which is 90% of them. I'm not worried about, them stealing whatever. I mean, it's just you're already giving away the content.
Your
But that
IP
email,
saying, here you go.
yeah. But that email I send is also my opportunity to give them a little pitch, right? Which is I can pitch them on my morning huddle video and year-long video initiative. I can say, if you belong to an organization that hires speakers, I would love it if you pass my name along, whatever that might be. So there's my outreach. And then for the meeting planner, it's not a significant, they've already hired me. They're already just exhausted because they just planned a wedding, and did their big event. So we'll just send a thank you and how much we really, really appreciate it. If we know that they videotaped and recorded the session, that's another opportunity to reach out and just say, hey, just swinging back around, would love a copy of the video, the unedited video, when it's available. And then I always throw in the line, of course, I've learned this from some great competitors and colleagues, is if you would like some suggestions of who to bring in for next year, I have some amazing colleagues. I think this is so important in our profession. I make a commitment every year on January 1st. My goal is to refer at least 12 full fee gigs to others throughout the year.
I love that. I love that. That's a good karma thing. You're doing it. Other people for you.
And it's smart. What do they say? The behavior that's recognized and rewarded is the behavior that's repeated. Somebody's much more likely to send you a gig if you send it to them. Except, and this is something that I know you and I are on the same page, it's really difficult to ask a colleague to give you a reference or a referral if they have not seen you speak. They're not going to do it as a friend. They have to know, they have to have seen you speak to actually refer you to someone else because their reputation's on the line.
That's beautiful. I really like when you're at the end stage with the client of setting up some sort of final call where you can make recommendations.
Yeah.
Do you guys do anything like that? And it could be recommendations for a speaker next time, or it could be recommendations for next steps with us together.
Yeah, well, and it's different. That doesn't generally occur with an association. With association audience, you definitely can recommend other ones. In terms of follow-on, that's really a corporate presentation and opportunity. And then I absolutely have that conversation. And once again, it's what I learned from Chad Hymas is, listen, let's make sure that we don't lose momentum. I think we need to keep this conversation going. I'd love to talk to you next week about some follow-on content, consulting, whatever that might be. But you have to be very, very sensitive to upselling on site. They're already moving on to the next session. They got 2 more days in their conference, and you can look really annoying and needy if you try and upsell them. So I just throw in there to say, listen, get through the conference. Let's circle back next week. And then I'll give you one last thing that I always do, and I didn't do it strategically, but I've recognized that there's a strategic advantage to it. I do it just because it's who I am. Is I always make a point to go back and I shake hands with everybody at the sound booth. I go backstage and I shake hands with everybody backstage. I've always done it. I recognize how much work they do, and you get one little microphone glitch and everybody's on their case, and it's like, now I've just great on. Prior to the pandemic, I was always like, I come up, people say, listen, I'm a hugger. You a hugger? And then I'd hug everybody in the meeting planner. Do that less so now, but I always make, and if you're leaving, say you're on day 1 or day 2 of a 3-day conference, I always do a final thank you to all of the people who were involved in bringing me in, the meeting planner, the whatever else. I'll always give them hand them a signed book. When I'm signing books in the back of the room, I'll pull 2 or 3 aside for the people who actually, and then, you want to leave them feeling good about you.
Yes. And remembering you. I love the idea, and this is taking a page out of Chad's language, of even before the gig plays, of talking about setting up a momentum builder call post engagement. You call, we name everything. Right. And so we typically will have next steps calls and various things. We have a Focus 40 session, but I like the idea of naming your, not post-mortem call. It's a momentum builder call, because now we're going to talk about what's next and how we keep this message alive. And that's like what you said is probably the best idea with corporate.
And to be clear, I never do that before the gig. I think others might if they have that relationship. I don't want to upsell something before. I mean, there's things you'll buy online and you'll order it, and then you'll start getting pitches every day. It's like, I haven't even received the item yet. Don't try and sell me. Don't sell me something else. Now, for others that might work.
Until you say no thanks like 10 times. Oh my God, that is
the most. Like I'm still waiting 2 weeks for the item, and then they're trying to upsell me.
Talk about friction, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Okay, sir, you have given us a lot of gold on how to be ridiculously easy to do business with as a speaker, how to create the least amount of friction between you and the client. If people want to get in touch with you, first they can go out on Amazon as of what date and grab this book?
As of June 10th. It's available in Kindle and in hardback, and the audio book we're still we're going to get that recorded in the next couple of weeks, but otherwise just look me up, davidavrin.com. Avrin.
Avrin. And make sure you go out. I would go to David's website and watch his demo video. It's working, it's getting him booked, and that's definitely a good piece of homework for people to do. Where would you most want people to connect with you, on LinkedIn, or where, if they want to connect?
Or they can always just send me an email. It's just my name, just David at davidavrin.com. LinkedIn is super easy. Connect with me there. When you go beyond that, it gets a little more difficult because there are hundreds of fake accounts. So on TikTok, it's the real David Avrin. Or real David Avrin on Instagram, it's real David Avrin. Just look at it. If there are very few actual connections, it's not really me. So that's a whole other catfish for another day. But yeah,
Yeah.
just look me up. Just send me an email. I respond to everything. I might be on an airplane or somewhere else. But listen, like you, it's my mission to help our colleagues feed their families and reject so much of this nonsense. If I hear one more person on stage say, listen, if you make a difference in the life of just one person, and I'm like, if you make a difference in the life of one person, you are a really, really bad speaker, like really bad. Like you would be fired from any job anywhere, and the meeting planner will hate you.
All
We
right.
we make difference in many more. All right, we're done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you so
I
much.
appreciate you
And for
too.
those of you who are listening, hey, make sure that you subscribe. You don't want to miss some great upcoming sessions that we are going to be doing. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon, Wealthy Speakers.
Hi, guys.
I should say thanks for listening. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast. If you need help building the speaking business of your dreams, head over to wealthyspeakerschool.com and take advantage of our 20-minute next step call. Thanks for listening to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast.